computers now have primarily control of critical vehicle functions. 12, 11, 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start.
Hey guys, the Proxy here. Here to introduce our new track, Ignition, which is dropping today, straight after this video. So check out the links in the comments. Yeah, we'll be launching straight into this after this little video. We thought we'd just do a little quick check-in to say good day, introduce the track a bit, do a little bit of the tech stuff for all you noobs out there who want to know about plugins and that kind of thing. So I guess just to start off, for those of you who don't know us, I'm Brad, the MC vocalist in the band.
And I'm David, and obviously I'm the guitar player and sort of the primary producer.
Hey, I'm Roger, I play bass.
And I'm Adam, and I play drums.
Don't forget the monkey pants, Adam. You wear the monkey pants.
He also, very importantly, he drives Brad around.
Yes.
Personal chauffeur is another title that he holds.
Since 2007.
But yeah, look, back to the track. Again, just I guess a quick introduction. This is a track we've been kicking around for probably a year or 18 months now. I'll let Dave talk a bit more about how the track came about itself.
18 months almost exactly. So we did a gig. We supported Butterfingers up in the Blue Mountains at the Gearin Hotel, which I think is closed down now. And I was quite impressed with what they did, and I came home and tried to write a Butterfingers song basically, and came up with the bass line, and then proceeded to sort of put the rest of the song. I used the chorus from a very old band of mine from the mid-90s and kind of rejigged that. And it doesn't sound anything like a Butterfingers song now, but that was kind of the sort of initial inspiration for it. Yeah, so it took me a while to come up with the guitar part. This song took a long time to come up with guitar parts. Normally I do the guitar bits first, but this one took me almost right up until we finished recording it to figure out exactly what I was going to play on the guitar. So that was a bit of a challenging one for this particular track. Brad had all his parts worked out well before I had my parts, which is unusual.
Yeah, I guess on that note, for me, this is one of those ones that kind of happened pretty quickly and kind of just fell out. As soon as I heard the track, the kind of melody and the stuff just popped into my head. You'll probably hear it yourself when you hear the track, but there's a bit of I think a Chili Peppers influence there, both in musically and lyrically and vocally. So there's actually a Chili Peppers song that I can't pinpoint it. If anybody else listens to our song and then thinks, hey, it sounds like that Chili Peppers song, hit us up in the comments and let me know. But yeah, it's kind of, I guess, got that funky kind of vibe that then drops in those heavy sections. In terms of the content, look, it is very metaphorical without, I guess, giving it away, and it's certainly no big mystery. I think you'll probably work it out yourself. But yeah, in terms of the lyrics, the first line kind of jumped out and included, well, the first line is, you know, let's go interstellar, and then all of those spacey rocket launch, space travel, I guess cliches you could call them, metaphors, fall out and fall into place. So that's, I guess, where it came from my perspective. As I said, yeah, it came together quite quick, as Dave said, and I guess we kind of built, you know, added layer by layer from there. Once we had that, we had that foundation built. So just back to you for a second, Shads. You mentioned obviously taking some time to work out these guitar parts. Just want to let the guys out there know what guitars you played on this track, and plugins, amps you used.
I'm fairly certain, I don't actually entirely remember. I'm fairly certain most of the clean parts are done on the Strat, and most of the heavy parts are a combination of the Cilia and the Paul Reed Smith. The solo is definitely a Paul Reed Smith. I remember doing the solo on the Paul Reed Smith, but that's about it. All of these tunes that we do are entirely self-produced. So I sit here in my little studio and put together all of the tracks, and then we sort of send them around. And we got into Roger's studio where he's sitting at the moment and tracked the drum parts to give him the live drum bits. But pretty much, you did your bass parts live in the studio too, didn't you? But all the guitar parts are pretty much just directly into the computer, and then I use various Line 6 Helix plugins and stuff to take my guitar signals and make them sound like I'm in a huge studio with 1,000 different amplifiers and stuff. So that's how we kind of put it together. I spend a fair bit of time kind of mixing things, and send versions around to the boys, and they come back and go, oh, it's too loud here, or it's too quiet there, and that sort of stuff. And then the final bit goes across to Rog, who attacks it with a fresh set of ears and has a bit of a master approach to it, and puts that final polish on it for us.
And on that note, Rog, from a mastering perspective, just want to give our fans out there a rundown on your side of things. Likewise, from a bass playing perspective, guitars, and any other technical stuff you've used on this track.
Yeah, mastering was basically just an EQ process, just looking at the overall mix that Dave has put together, and just trying to get all of the instruments to a point where they're nice and clear, they're separate. And I basically use an EQ program to do that. And then I'll run a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for, reverb. So a very, very subtle, very gentle amount of reverb, just to give the overall track a little bit more room to breathe. And then I run it through a limiter, which obviously brings the volume levels up to what we were looking for. I did do a couple of different approaches. That was the one that we ended up going with. I went with another approach, which was to run it through a whole bunch of analog style plugins, which are very different. They're, instead of giving you individual frequency controls, they give you sort of a broad bass, treble, drive kind of an idea. And then using another analog emulation of a mastering limiter. So overall, the two approaches were, one was what we went with was a digital one, and the other one was an emulation of analog gear. The one that we all seem to prefer was the digital one, because it just got the best results that we all seem to like. So from a technical standpoint, that's pretty much the mastering. So.
And your bass parts, what bass did you use to record your parts on for this one?
So I have a Yamaha RBX 760A, which is the first bass I ever bought about 22 years ago now.
It's been rocking that for a long time, that one.
Yeah, it's just a really solid instrument. I've got a Fender 500 watt head and speaker box combination that I used. So I ran a DI signal and a microphone signal as well, and I let Dave sort of balance those when he does the mixing. So from my end, I was trying to get it.
DI.
Sorry, what was that, mate?
I was just saying, I run the DI signal through the same sort of amp simulators. So
yeah. So yeah, I provided Dave with basically two signals. One which is kind of close to the actual guitar sound itself, a raw sound that comes out of the guitar, and the other one is what the amplifier itself was making. So.
Cool.
And if you wanted to really quickly just move out of the way, this is where Adam recorded his drums in this space, and I'll give the camera a quick swivel. You may not be able to see all of the gear, none of it's turned on at the moment, but this is the studio where I did the recording for the drums. It's a nice space. We'll get a good sound. I've had a lot of experience recording drums in this room, so that's why I took up the drum recording.
And people can see some footage of Adam recording his parts, which I was going to lead into next. I'll again drop a link in the comments to some of that footage of Adam tracking this track specifically. So I guess from your perspective, Adam, do you just want to give the guys out there, or the other drummers out there, a quick rundown of your setup that you've used? So yeah, you can probably show it right there. There you go.
Yeah, so I use the trusty old orange Mapex there, with the Mapex snare, which is nice and shiny. was the first kit that I ever brought myself, and probably one of my favourites. When we first started jamming, I was using a bit of the electrics with a bit of a hybrid kit, which lasted probably about a year or so until we moved to the full acoustic kit, which I absolutely love. Nice a tune-up before we started to record with the boys' help there. And yeah, as you said before, a bit of vision on our Facebook page of me recording the song, which is probably one of my favourite beats to play. Nice little shuffle in there, a lot of snare work. So when I first heard the original track that Shadbolt provided with a bit of drums behind it, I was like, yeah, cool, this is going to be a fun one to play.
On that note, I think it's probably one of the ones that you picked up the easiest. We didn't really have to work too hard. There was that little difference between the second and third choruses that took a couple of goes, but once you
everybody
got that
else's
in,
parts in this song were really easy. It was just my parts that were really hard to come up with.
yeah.
Yeah, as I said, like it's a mad beat, like it's just that shuffle kind of beat, and you can just move and roll with your hands. So in that aspect, it's really easy to play. And yeah, as you said, the other parts, once we got them, we got them.
Yeah.
Didn't take as long as some of the other songs that we've done before, but
Poor Adam
exactly.
has to put up with Shadbolts in there, watching him and telling him to do it better, or to hit this symbol instead of that symbol. So
I think that's what I like about this one as well. We've kind of struck that balance between having the musicality there and having some interesting stuff going on, but keeping it quite straight up and down as well, so people can just rock out without having to think too much about it. So I guess that's pretty much it from us, guys. We just again want to give you a bit of an insight to how the track has come about. It has been a long time coming, and it's definitely the first of a string of tracks that we're going to be releasing this year, all building up to the full length LP, which we had settled on a name for, but I'm starting to rethink. I think it's been that long that we've kind of moved a little bit in terms of position on that. So we'll see what we come up with. But again, thanks for checking this one out. Jump straight on into the comments. Follow the links. This track's going to be up on our Instagram TV, YouTube, links all over our socials. So get behind it, give it a like, give it a share, get it on some playlists that you're into, and we will see you guys soon hopefully for some shows. We get out of lockdown and off Zoom.
Goes back to normal.
But otherwise, till then, cheers, and we'll speak soon.
Enjoy the track.
Cheers, guys.
There you guys.
Engines on 5, 4, 3, 2. All engines running. Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff. 40